Alright, so now our journey is leading us to the last of our categories, which is culture. This category is about ourselves within a diverse world. Here, our big goal is going to provide students with multiple opportunities for them to develop understanding upon themselves and also upon other people who may come from different parts of the world, who may have a different linguistic and even cultural background. And if we explicitly regard cultural topics, cultural contents, and cultural skills and abilities, we may actually be working on fostering global citizenship in our students. This kind of citizenship will allow them to overcome not only linguistic but also cultural obstacles whenever they have to face them or whenever they happen to find them in real life. So here, the idea is that students become actively involved in order to develop pluricultural understanding. Okay, so what are our eyes going to focus on here? What do we have to spot? Well, we are going to identify cultural matters, cultural topics, or cultural contents. These are three synonyms for the same thing. And when these contents that we have already identified in our first category, content, when they are very controversial or even problematic, they become cultural issues, and they are also valid to explicitly regard in our syllabus, in our English syllabus. Well, that's not the end. We can also include cultural skills and cultural abilities in the language learning process. Here we are going to explicitly identify the implications, the cultural implications that the contents that we identified before have. The idea is that students have the actual and the real chance to know and to talk about other people's cultures, but also their own culture. There needs to be a balance. And well, culture is a wide spectrum, right? Don't you agree? Culture cannot be only about people from other parts of the world and where is China located, where is Australia. It's not only about geography. It involves all of the activities that different societies may have. This can involve, of course, literature. What are some of the most famous writers that have been born in other places in the world? Music. How does music in other parts of the world sound like? How can we describe it? How is it different from ours? Sports. What kind of sports do people practice in other parts in the world? Arts. How can we describe pieces of art that were created in other countries? Languages. How are other people's languages and how do they sound? How are they structured? We can compare them, and it's a very interesting exercise. How can we take care of the environment? How can we take care of the world we are living in? Food. What do other people eat in other places in the world? And nature, biology. What is the relationship between, or how is the relationship between other people in the world and nature? And if you have any other ideas that you would like to include in this wide spectrum, in this wide range of possibilities, they are more than welcome. You are always invited to share your ideas. Bearing the former spectrum in mind, these are some examples of cultural contents, cultural topics. Living in Venice, South African life, Colombian food and celebrations, night market in Taiwan, literature from Nepal, and possibilities are endless here. You can also be creative and you can also propose your own cultural topics, the ones that probably are not in the syllabus yet, but that you actually think that they are very, very relevant. And let's remember that if the syllabus of the institution you are working at is lacking this kind of contents or these cultural topics, it is very, very important that you explicitly include them, because without it, there cannot be CLIO. CLIO cannot be actually implemented if there is not a cultural dimension that is explicitly considered in the learning process and also in the syllabus, right from the plans. Usually that's not the case, because if we are in a primary and high school environment, well, we are explicitly working on values and we are fostering them, so they also have a cultural dimension and they can be highlighted in the syllabus if they are already there. So all in all, this category is about developing contact between the world and the students. The idea is that this contact is as close as possible. The idea is that students get to touch the world with their hands, and that they are exposed to the wide range of diverse possibilities and to the very meaningful diversity that the world is bringing us nowadays, so that they develop cultural and also intercultural understanding and awareness. Usually we talk about cultural understanding, but if we are in a language, especially a second language and especially English language and teaching process, there needs to be, or we need to talk about intercultural abilities. So now that we finished this category, we need to ask ourselves, in my English lessons, am I explicitly facilitating the conditions for students to develop intercultural abilities? And if so, how? How do we live our culture in our school? And by how, we mean, are they regarded in the syllabus? Are they carried out in different activities? I mean, how is explicitly, or how is it actually lived? And also, how do we live other people's cultures in our school? Please don't forget to share your answers in the discussion forum by clicking on Add a New Discussion Topic. And please reply to 2 of your colleagues. And that's going to be very, very interesting to see how the discussion goes on. This was everything for today, and we hope that you found plenty of ideas and that the work on your syllabus is actually going very well.